Back in 2023, we were treated to an incredible season of television about a tough, no-nonsense man played by Pedro Pascal who must protect a vulnerable child on a journey across dangerous lands. The Mandalorian. Or, wait, am I thinking of The Witcher? Or was it Stranger Things? Pedro's not even in those. Okay, you get my point. This is a pretty popular trope. But what exactly is this violent man plus child archetype? Where does it come from? And why, despite its obviously frequent usage, does it still hit? Let's do a little cultural archaeology just for a moment so we can discover who is inspiring all these stories. As you probably know, the Last of Us TV show was not an original property, but an adaptation of a popular video game from 2013, also called The Last of Us. Neil Druckmann, the game's creator and head writer, says part of his inspiration for the relationship between main characters Joel and Ellie was 2002's Road to Perdition. Not The Road, which is a different... Wait, that's also a kid and a violent man. What are the chances?
I'll shoot you in the head.
Okay, sorry, staying focused. The Road to Perdition film was itself an adaptation, but this time of a comic book of the same name. Its author, Allan Collins, says his story of an Irish mob enforcer whose wife is murdered by people he trusted, forcing him into a journey of violent revenge with his son in tow, was inspired by a popular Japanese manga and later film series from the 1970s called Lone Wolf and Cub, about a Japanese executioner whose wife is murdered by people he trusted, forcing him into a journey of violent revenge with his son in tow. And if you've read any interviews about any of these games or comics or shows or movies, then you know we've finally reached our destination. Lone Wolf and Cub was hugely popular and immeasurably influential to the point where these archetypes and structure, violent man plus child on dangerous journey, are now called Lone Wolf and Cub stories. And even beyond the archetypes, the manga and films are considered some of the best examples of their genre, influencing artists as wide-ranging as Frank Miller and GZA, and even get a little nod in Kill Bill Volume 2.
When I was little, my father was famous.
Just a quick aside, the bride and her daughter are actually specifically watching Shogun Assassin, the American re-edit and English dub that cut together parts of the first two movies in the Lone Wolf and Cub series and added an entirely new synth soundtrack. It's a wild watch, and it's why you're on this journey with me. I stumbled across Shogun Assassin and had to talk to someone about it, and that someone is you. Hope you're having fun. Kisses. But what's more fascinating than that weird tangent is that this specific pairing of characters has persisted for more than 50 years and has seemingly experienced a recent surge in popularity in Western media. And that begs the question, why? The easiest and most basic answer is, seeing someone outside of their comfort zone is a basic building block of stories. It's essential to the hero's journey that the hero crosses into the unknown, so by having a figure prone to violence and who we'd not assume could be nurturing be forced to adopt the role of a caring, comforting figure is not just classic, it's a borderline obvious choice. But it's not the only choice, of course, so why is it such a common choice? Well, it's interesting that these lone wolves are almost always men, right? You get some rare examples like Aliens, but the lone wolf is usually a man being tasked with protecting a cub. So it might be that it's specifically engaging to see a masculine figure be forced into a nurturing role and shepherd an innocent child through a dangerous world. I just learned this morning, but did you know that a lot of men are dads? And that people like to project themselves onto the characters they watch? When I tell people I know a thing or two, I mean just those two things. That said, the audience is projecting themselves, but we're not seeing relatable scenarios of child rearing exactly. Because it's further interesting that this caretaking isn't usually in the form of reading stories and cooking meals, is it? At least not for most of the runtime. The man is forced to do violence in order to nurture. And here we come to the most intriguing reason these stories continue to resonate. Because we are often as compelled by violence as we are repulsed by it. We want to watch movies about people kicking ass, but killing is also wrong, right? Yes. But in Lone Wolf and Cub stories, a man must kill in order to protect the child he's responsible for. He is therefore able to be our action hero star, but absolved of all sins by virtue of the fact that his killing is a necessity to preserve an innocent life. In both Last of Us and Road to Perdition, this is taken even further by the main characters trying to shield their cubs from having to participate in their violent worlds for as long as they can. Contrary to the Lone Wolf and Cub series, where the assassin is relieved when his baby chooses a sword over a ball, signaling the child's destiny as a warrior. So as long as we keep wanting to see action heroes killing roomfuls of guys, we'll likely continue stumbling across this trope. Because you may have noticed that all of the series I mentioned were massive hits. Really excited to share this one with you. But I'm definitely more of a fan than I am an expert, so if you saw something I missed or got wrong, please share in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And that's really it, but while editing, I just saw a lot of these visual similarities, so enjoy the credits montage.